Why don't we start with Sean McDermott? We welcome in Sean McDermott to Michael Lombardi's office. A loss yesterday in Jacksonville, Michael.
Well, I think you don't want to overreact, Sean, but I do think there's a couple things we need to straighten out before we get going here in the future as the weather has changed. This week, when I was in the NFL, we always would talk about the wreck of the Emmett Fitzgerald as the signaling the beginning of the new season. I think it's November the 13th that the wreck happened up in Whitefish Bay. It was 30 miles from getting to the shore, and, they just couldn't make it. And we're not going to make it if we don't learn how to run the football. It's Buffalo. It's windy weather. It's bad weather. We've got to get more physical up front. We really got to do it. I know the offensive line isn't playing very well. I know we've got liability within that line, but the longer we keep trying to throw the ball to the outside, to Cole Beasley and simulate a running game with him, it's only going to affect us when the weather changes. We need to become more physical. We need to be able to get control of a football game. And doing that, we're going to have to run it a little bit. And I know Brian Daboll knows that. He's with New England. He understands it. It's not scoring points. It's controlling the pace of the game. We must improve our run game.
Thank you, Sean. Appreciate you coming by. Since the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl, the 49ers are 9-15. Kyle Shanahan, here comes Kyle. Thoughts on him getting beat by a backup quarterback yesterday there at home?
Well, I think, what we saw yesterday was the fact that our players thought we weren't playing their best player, and we let down. It was pretty clear. There's always that sense of, when we get the backup in, we'll let down a little bit, and I think we did. But, right now, our team, we're not good in any area. We're really not. We can't run the football, and when we get behind in games, it becomes problematic. The attention to detail, the discipline of our team is really not very good. And we seem to have it when we play on the road, but we don't have it here. We should change the routine. Whatever we need to do, we got to find a way to grasp the attention of these players, because right now we're getting out physical. And we're not doing the things in terms of complementary football. 3rd and 20, we allow a check down for a first down that ultimately puts the game away because we get behind 14-0 on that drive. So we've got to get back to our roots. We've got to figure out how we're going to run the ball. We've got to stay true to ourselves, and we've got to find a way to make plays down the field. And our defense has got to complement us. We've got to be able to play smarter in situational football. And we can't let guys like Josh Norman run around the field and do things that affect us and let his anger take over the team. You got to get control of the team. You got to be the head coach of the team, and you got to take this over.
Okay, Kyle. Thanks for coming by Michael's office. Next up, step into my office. We're going to welcome in Mike McCarthy, whose team was down 30-0 at home to the Denver Broncos, get beat up yesterday.
Well, I think, Mike, what we learned, and you've learned this as much as I have, is if you don't play 100% against any team in the league, you're going to get beat. But the great thing about today is we learned how people are going to try to defend us. They're going to take the Vic Fangio blueprint, and we're going to see it again and again and again. Now, will it work? That's up to us. It's up to us whether it'll work. But I think we do know now, unless we give maximum effort in every game, we just don't roll the star out and win games. You know that, and I know that. And so the team's got to know that. And it starts on Wednesday's practice. I promise you, I wasn't at Wednesday's practice, but I'm sure you didn't have a good Wednesday practice. I'm sure you probably didn't have a good Thursday or Friday. You're probably going through the motions. These losses don't occur on Sundays. These losses, as you know, Mike, winning a Super Bowl, they occur on Wednesday and Thursday and Friday. And we've got to really nip it in the bud. If you're not going to call plays, if you're going to be the head coach, then that's got to be your job. You got to make sure that whatever we do on Wednesday and Thursday translates to Sunday, because practice execution becomes game reality.
Thanks.
And you need to be able to see that.
Thank you, Mike. Now, would you recommend, when the Detroit Lions got beat up by Cincinnati at home, their head coach, Dan Campbell, he actually buried the game film. I'm not kidding. He did shtick. He actually took a shovel out and buried it. Would you suggest Mike McCarthy do shtick or just get back to business?
No, it's just, look, it's a professional environment. We're not here. This isn't high school. We're not going to bury the tape. We're going to watch the tape. We're going to learn from it, because that tape's going to haunt us. That tape's going to come back, because this is the league repeats everything. It's a repeat league. It's a copycat league. And so whatever Vic did on that tape, how he played his man coverage, the techniques the corners used, how they inside it out, the routes that they were taking away from us, we're going to see it again. We're going to have to execute much better.
Okay. Next up, into Michael Lombardi's office, Mike Zimmer, Vikings catching 7, lost. They do cover 34-31 on Sunday in Baltimore. What do you say to Mike?
Mike, I say this. I think you're going to have to go into Clint's QBX office and find out why we can't throw the ball. Why can't we get the ball to our best players? You know, what happened? I mean, we started the game out, Dalvin Cook ran the ball effectively, but once that happened after the first quarter, I think he had 13 carries for 20-some yards. He couldn't really run the ball. We've got to be better at making adjustments offensively. I know you call the defense. I understand that. But somebody's got to help Clint Kubiak. His dad's not here. Somebody's got to help him with in-game adjustments. Is it Brian Periani? Who is it? We got to do a better job. Put Paul Gunther over there. Get somebody to help, because we need help adjusting to what they're doing. Because if we just throw the ball a little bit better in a game, we're going to win the last 2 games. We had no passing game the last 2 weeks. If we don't get this fixed, if we don't come back being able to average 9 yards a catch like we did last year with Kirk Cousins, we're not going to be able to turn this corner. We can turn the corner because we're good enough.
There it is. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. Okay, those are the ones we had planned. I'm going to throw a curveball at you. The Cleveland Browns, we haven't discussed this game, and you were on Cleveland. Congratulations. That was a great play in Cincinnati. Let's bring Baker in. So it's been tumultuous.
Do you think Russo will give me credit for that, or do you think he'll say I had another bad week on the Cincinnati pick?
What did you went 3-0 here. I don't know what you do.
I went 2-1 with his picks because I got the 49. Yeah. But I'm sure I'm going to hear, well, I'm on a slump, even though he was 1-2 again.
Not bad. If you go 2-1, you're going to end up winning. Browns beat the Bengals 41-16. Baker plays fine. He had the big bomb. What would you say to Baker after a tumultuous time and some injuries here?
I would say, Baker, look, this is exactly the way you're going to have to play. Limit the amount of times you're going to throw it. We've got to run the ball, got to play action. We've got to make big chunk plays. This is who you are. Now, if you want $40 million doing this, go somewhere else to do it. No one's going to pay you $45 million doing this. Know who you are as a player. Play within yourself. Play within yourself. In this system, in this scheme, we can win a lot of games. If that's important, you'll take $30 million, $32 million. If it's all about your bank account, go somewhere else. And if someone's dumb enough to pay you $40, $45 because they need a starting quarterback, you're going to end up being unhappy. Because you're not good enough to be able to carry a team. We can carry you. You can't carry us. And together we can win this whole thing.
Yeah, he had the 60-yard bomb to Donovan Peoples-Jones, and Denzel Ward set the tone with his pick 6 on the game's opening drive. That number was headed towards the Browns, going the right way because, Michael, as you called it, that was a big-time performance by the Browns, and the Bengals, not so much.
Yeah, I mean, look, this was a game where I thought the Browns would move the ball better than they actually did in the game against Cincinnati. I thought Cincinnati would make mistakes. I thought they would turn the ball over because I thought the offensive line would create some issues. And Denzel Ward stepped up and played, and he stepped up and played really well. And the Bengals looked like a team whose execution wasn't very good. They controlled the ball 36 minutes. They dominated the stats. They just couldn't dominate the column where they won the game. And every time they thought they were going to get a little closer, they couldn't stop. They can't get control of the game.
This is, again, according to the Elias Sports Bureau, by the way, the Browns are the 4th team in history. Recorded passing touchdown, rushing touchdown, defensive touchdown, 60 yards or more, so explosiveness there. It's sticking with the Bengals. This is going to be your boy Zach Taylor is going to be in a spot here because it's starting to go the other way big time.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to have to get the details cleaned up. I mean, when I watch the Bengals, the details aren't cleaned. That's what I see. I see that, and he's going to have to figure out what he can really do offensively. And it isn't just they got to have to cover up for this bad offensive line. They have to cover up for it.
Yeah, in the turnovers, none for the Browns and 3 for the Cincinnati. That's going to kill you, and that is. Again, and it actually got it. Mixon was in the house. They got a strong performance from Mixon, 110 total yards, 2 touchdowns. That's you would look up and see that and expect the Bengals to flourish, but it wasn't to be. Okay, so you feel what about the Browns kind of moving forward after this performance? They had 4-4, mediocre coming in, and now they come out with a big performance in Cincinnati. But you don't really respect Cincinnati.
I don't think Cincinnati's great, and I really don't think the Browns were great on defense yesterday. I think they were fortunate. They created some turnovers.